What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beyond Basecamp. Today we have something very exciting for you. Today we have Craig Hannum from Marsh Creek Contracting. We're going to be talking about scaling your business at a rapid pace. He's done it, and he's going to tell you how. All right, so Craig, thank you for coming on, first of all.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Craig and I have a long history. We've been, working together since you launched, right?
Yeah.
So if you can, tell us a little bit about that. How did we get here today?
I would really say Dave was a mentor for me before I launched Marsh Creek Contracting, and I would, kind of give him a pat on the back because he was probably one of the sole individuals or mentors, I would say, that got me over the hump of encouraging me to stop thinking about what if I fail, but what if I didn't do this, and starting the business. So I come from an entrepreneurial background. My dad, my mom both had small businesses, which have been great to see, over the years growing up. I've seen the great times. I've seen the downturn in 2008 as my dad has a construction company and my mom doing interior design. So I've seen it all. I've seen the struggle. I've seen the goals met, the milestones, the excitements. So I learned a lot of what to do and also what not to do.
Yeah, that's important.
And their challenges through that as well. So going through high school, my parents both said, I don't care what you do, you're going to college.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that college is for everybody.
Okay.
With that piece, but once I graduated high school, I went to Penn State.
Nice.
Played some club baseball there, which was awesome.
Very cool.
And did what was natural. I took business management and marketing as a degree.
Right.
Is just something that really excites me as an entrepreneur, and it's just kind of breezed through getting a degree there at Penn State.
Nice. Considering that you had this entrepreneurial background just in your family and those relationships, when you went to college, was it begrudging, or were you like, hey, I'm going to make the most of this while I'm here?
I really wanted to make the most of it while I was there.
Okay.
So
you saw the value of the college education.
I absolutely saw the value of it. I was paying for it.
Yeah.
So,
oh well, now okay.
It kind of has a little bit of a piece to it. So
yeah,
I really, at that time, kind of went through the years in high school of rebellion and stuff like that. So I got that out of my system early on. And but by the time college came around, I just enjoyed the professors. I enjoyed the interactions with other entrepreneur-minded people, and especially going through a team atmosphere in club baseball and the demands of that collegiately. Kind of set me up for what I was going to experience in the after real life of entrepreneurship and just business in general.
Yeah.
So
I think for us, like we talk a lot about in risk management, a lot of people think about the downside of risk and not the what I would call the upside of risk. Like I remember at that breakfast at Green Street, saying to you, if everything you're saying is true, then my perception would be that the greatest risk is not, your truck running off the road. It's you not doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I remember that feeling and feeling like there's a risk to not taking action here.
Yeah.
So at the time you were with
Toll Brothers.
Toll Brothers, right? And you saw an opportunity, right?
Yeah, saw an opportunity for sure. I would say kind of going back a little bit more, I worked for Frontline Technologies.
Yes.
Which was something that was out of my comfort zone. So out of college, I wanted to do something that wasn't natural to me. I wanted to try something different out because I always knew I was going to love construction and entrepreneurship. It just came natural to me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see what more of the corporate, small business, technology, just a completely different industry felt like.
Right.
I lasted 3 years.
That's not bad.
Which isn't bad.
Out of college, that's not bad at all.
But in the relationships that I created amongst that, was the CEO of Frontline, and is a very faithful servant of Jesus.
Yeah.
And it, from the top down, he ran his business that way. His culture was that way. And just seeing how he ran his business as a scale and the growth and how to do that and still keep the culture
Right.
was amazing. And going through experiencing that and then experiencing an acquisition from a venture group from Frontline to take it to that next level,
Yes. Interesting.
which I was a part of as an employee, and keeping true to the roots of who they were and being grounded in that. It came a time where 3 years in or so, I just felt that I needed to get out and get back into the construction field.
Right.
And I got an offer from NVR Homes to be a project manager there. I remember walking into Mike Blackstone's office at Frontline and telling him, giving him my notice essentially. And talk about a man who was so encouraging to do and follow my dreams.
That's awesome.
So he was also a big mentor, still is to this day as an entrepreneur, a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
That when he speaks, it holds weight.
Right.
And in just this entire journey and just in life in general, I like to pick people's brains and really focus on who has been successful before me.
Right.
And just figure out the wisdom that they have instilled in what they learned, what they did great, what they didn't do great, which really still holds weight for today and what has made Marsh Creek so successful.
Right.
And it's not just me, but it's basically off, the people and the wisdom of each pieces of past jobs that I've learned. And I can tell you today that each position I held at each one of the companies that I worked for leading up to starting Marsh Creek Contracting, I have taken a piece of that, of each job, and instilled it within Marsh Creek Contracting.
Right.
Good, bad, and different. I really focused on those things, and in the place that I was at and where God had me in Craig's story, in my entrepreneurial journey, I really look back. In the moment, I didn't realize it, but now looking back, and as I was starting Marsh Creek, I took each piece, something out of each one of the positions I had.
Yeah.
Because I went from Frontline, went into the back end of the construction industry at NVR, and then I was recruited to come over to Toll Brothers to start and help out with their stucco remediation issues that they were having.
Right.
To really, it's more of a warranty thing with Toll Brothers in that whole piece. So each one of those positions, I've learned something. Frontline, I learned how to run it culturally, and be grounded. When I went over to NVR, I learned the production and how to be efficient with our time.
Right.
And then with Toll Brothers, I learned the entire remediation business. So I was at Toll for 2 years.
Okay.
And my dad came to me and said, "Hey, I'm done running my business. Do you want to run the company business?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'll take it over."
Right.
But I'm changing the name so I can brand it and market it, right?
Yes,
Because at the time it was just Hannum Construction.
Right.
And it was more very smaller scale, residential interior, exterior designs. And in that transition, I was just always real. I always did right by the employees that were underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
I was very quick to listen.
Okay.
I think even in that, as being an entrepreneur like yourself, listening to your employees.
Absolutely.
Because they are your company.
Mm-hmm.
And listening through just the different challenges, and then ultimately making the decision that you feel is right for the growth of the business. So
that's good, man.
I can say that each one of the jobs that I had and each one of my bosses, they told me the same thing when I left. If it fails, we want you back.
Right. That's huge.
And I can't stress that enough to young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that have a dream.
Right.
That, don't burn bridges. Do what's right, work your hardest,
Mm-hmm.
and just do what's right by people and do it the right way.
Right. Yeah.
And
I love that. There's a humility in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To like you said, you learned everywhere you were, right?
Yep.
And that's a humble posture towards anything. Like
Right.
I have to learn something here, but then also too there was a stewardship of I'm here now. I'm going to make the most of this, and do the best I can in the role I am. Like at our family level, we
Yeah.
always talk to our
Yeah.
kids about bloom where you're planted. Like wherever you are,
Yep.
just trust that that's where you're supposed to be right now,
Mhm.
and do the best you can with what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And you did that professionally. And then I have, like Mike in particular, that's someone who you worked for, that not only did you move on from, but he supported you in that,
Mhm.
and still is a mentor to this day.
Absolutely.
And that's because of your you did well while you were there. If you
Yeah.
were like, oh, this is just a stepping stone till I do what I really want to do,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important part of the journey,
Very,
right?
very important.
Yeah.
And not only that piece, to really dumb it down even more. I mean, look at yourself in the position you're at now. It's a giant networking event,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you meet people along the way
Mm-hmm.
that will remember you if you go above and beyond for them.
Right. Yes.
And they're the same thing with past jobs where they heard that we started a construction business and they've hired us to do work.
Very cool.
Which has been awesome
Because they saw how you operated in a previous
absolutely.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So just in that and just really embracing where you are.
Right.
And there have been days where it was like, this job is awful.
Yeah.
But you embrace
True of
where you're
everything.
at.
You probably still have that sometimes,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
that didn't go away.
Exactly. Yep. But just embracing where you are and essentially embracing the suck. You just embrace where it is and you work through it and prayerfully, work through the things that are in front of you. And
Right.
and ultimately you're going to grow from that and learn, a lesson.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and different.
Yeah, you learn
along
something.
the way.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how the whole thing came about. And I would say the conversation that I was most not fearful about, but skeptical about, I would say, was the conversation with my wife. After I had the conversations with Dave and Mike and just the encouragement of getting into entrepreneurship and starting a business.
Right.
And I was making $120,000 a year, full benefits, vacation, whole nine.
Right.
My daughter was
I was
8
just going to
months
ask.
old.
Yeah, I was just going to
I had
ask.
an 8-month-old at home.
Right. And was another on the way at that time?
Not at that time.
All
but
right.
soon thereafter.
Okay. Yeah.
We had just bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
A couple months, before this whole transition happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we sat down and I said, "Honey, I think I'm gonna quit my job and start a construction company."
Right.
And
How'd that go over?
it actually surprised me. She said, "You got us this far, and I trust in you.
That's awesome.
And if this is what your goal is to do, then let's do it."
Yeah, that's
Ultimately, it's God's plan.
huge. Mm-hmm.
So if something fails, then, it was also reassuring at the fact that in the back of my mind was, all right, well, if this does fail,
Right.
I have 3 jobs I can go back to and be hired and just continue
Right. Yes.
in that space.
Yeah.
But, it all came full circle once I, had her blessing. And once I had her blessing, I went to my boss at Toll Brothers and I told him what was going on, and he just said, "Listen, you got to follow your dream,
Right.
and I encourage you to do this, and no matter what, you'll always have a position here,
Yeah.
no matter what."
That's awesome.
And
And they're a client of
in
yours,
that,
yes?
yep.
You've done
Yep.
work for them?
Yep. So we
That's
we
that no
started
bridge again.
Yeah. So we started Marsh Creek August 2017.
Okay.
And we were, Dave was actually our first client.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is,
Our master bath.
Yeah.
Still standing.
There we go. Good. But to kind of bridge that, and as we were navigating through that, we started with 4 guys.
Right.
Myself, my brother-in-law, Derek, my dad, and my uncle.
Right.
So it was really a true
Family.
family affair.
Yes.
And I didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah.
They didn't know where it was going to go, but we all took the leap of faith and knew that we were dedicated. We would work hard.
Right.
Being a believer, I knew that the Lord was going to keep my path straight.
Yeah.
And really has my back. And going through that piece, and 2 months later, my boss said, Toll Brothers called back and said, "Hey, listen, you did such a great job for us. I need subcontractors that I can trust
Right.
to do the work through these warranty claims that we have. We don't have enough guys that we trust, that know that will do a good job, that I won't be getting a million phone calls from homeowners complaining about. And we know that, you would be a breath of fresh air for us out here because you know the process. So in that October, we started our first house for Toll Brothers, and kind of the rest is history.
So from August to October, was the vision for what you were doing different? Like, when did the vision click? Because that's something we see with a lot of our clients. At some point, something clicked and a focus narrowed, or, an opportunity that they didn't necessarily start out for presented itself, and that became the business. When did you say, okay, we're not just going to build homes or do renovations, but we're going to have this industry specialized focus area, and we're going to take that somewhere where no one's taking it?
In working with Toll Brothers, when I was an employee of them, I saw that there was an opportunity there. So I would say from the get-go, that was the ultimate goal, is to get into that niche. Strike while the iron's hot, right? So I saw that there was a niche there, and my ultimate goal was to always get into that and stay in that. And the opportunity that came up when they wanted us to start working with them and doing the remediations work fell right into place for us. And that's exactly what we want to do. And that was our really first milestone, our first stepping stone per se. The first year we did 5 homes. Well, the rest of that year in 2017, we did 4 homes, I believe. The next year we did 12.
Yeah, keep going with this number. How about 12, the year after that?
And then it doubled. We did 24. And then every year in regards to revenue, we doubled every year, which is unbelievable. Even this year. We've doubled this year. We're in year 7.
And you've doubled every year for 7 years.
Which is, unheard of. It really is. And it's only myself in regards to the project management piece of it and the business development piece of it. So we're getting to a point now where we're looking to really, blow the doors off this thing and start.
It's going to take it national next.
Starting to acquire other remediation companies, but it all started with Toll Brothers and their trust in us. We very rarely market. I know Anna might not like hearing that, so but we very rarely do that. We allow our work and our workers and the relationships that we build along the way to grow it organically, and it really has. Where we went from doing single family houses for Toll Brothers and other homes.
So let me ask you a question on the single family houses, because that's a unique reality. I don't know if you realize that, but to engage a national organization as one of your first clients, that can be intimidating to folks. So talk us through that a little bit. Like, where was your head at saying, yes, we are ready for this level of engagement almost day one? I mean, we're talking from August to October. That's months.
I would say
were you nervous or no?
No, I think for me it was kind of a weight off my back.
Really?
It was an answer to prayer. To be able to have the opportunity to go in there, do a great job, do what's right by the homeowners, to allow them to work through these warranty claims. I would say that it was just an opportunity to really grow, and seeing that vision through that. My story is a little more unique in a sense because I worked for the big national builder. So I don't necessarily know if I wasn't nervous at all. I just was awesome. It was awesome to have the opportunity. Everything was lined up. Everything kind of fell into place. So going through that piece and the whole revenue piece, and what I would say to young entrepreneurs that really are thinking about doing this, there's a couple things that my wife and I did prior to making this jump. Early on in our marriage, we realized that we are on 2 different scales of spending money. So, shout out to Dave Ramsey. We went through the Financial Peace University. We got on the same page. and we still use some of those ideas
Right.
that he has to this day. So we weren't debt free, but we were on our way to becoming debt free. I rolled that over into our business. So we had a very kind friend give us a $25,000 loan to really start Marsh Creek, because at that time we didn't have it, but I saw a vision and I wanted to take the opportunity to do it, and in that we paid that loan back within months.
Yeah.
And we did not take a cent of distributions until we had 6 months of emergency fund in place.
Yeah, this is important stuff. This is really
practical. So important to do that. And right now I'm working with other business owners that don't have that mindset, that are feeling the ill effects of it.
Right. Yes.
And just being, true to yourself and to your employees, to understand that it's not always going to be, heyday. It's not, the work isn't always going to be there.
Right.
And that's one thing that I learned from my parents in 2008, where I saw the struggle. Right. I saw the struggle. I saw the sleepless nights.
Right.
But our parents just persevered through and just worked harder. So really, in starting Marsh Creek, those were pieces that I instilled within the company that we still have today.
Right.
We have a working capital budget that always remains the same amount. If we want to buy a truck for one of our project managers, take it out of the working capital budget.
Right.
Pay it, then we refill the working capital budget until it gets to that threshold that we need it at. And, going through COVID, I was not concerned at all, with the entire thing. And believe it or not, we grew immensely
during COVID. Wow. Why would you say that is?
I would say people were home more. They realized
they were looking at their stuff.
They weren't, busy.
Right.
Busyness takes us away from so many things. And just being home, being with families, and really seeing that, hey, maybe we do have a problem behind our stucco.
Yeah.
Or we do want to do capital improvements to our home. We do want to, freshen up our outside, because if we're going to be, who knows when this is going to end.
Right.
So if we're going to be home a lot,
might as well be good.
Might as well enjoy the space that we have, right?
Yes.
So, we saw that piece and is growing through that piece during COVID. We also, we were shut down for a month. And then in that month, we took our emergency fund and kept all my guys on the payroll.
You paid everybody. I remember having this
So
conversation.
we kept everybody on the payroll, because they have families to feed.
Yes.
And they have bills to pay too. Right. So I wasn't going to take a paycheck out of that, just because your business is your staff, your employees.
Right.
We just direct the boat and direct the path. But ultimately, you set that culture and you allow your employees to do what they do best, and they are your company,
right,
through and through.
Right. So let's talk about employees, because we have the pleasure of working together professionally, and that is I've because of that have talked to many of your employees, and at the end of the day, his team is tight and they trust each other and they trust him. So how you don't double every year without the team being a huge part of that. So talk us through maybe the team that was there and how they evolved individually, but then also too, how did you grow your team at scale to be able to keep up with the work that was doubling up?
Yep. So something that I picked up from Frontline, was how they cherished their employees. Having, we had summer bonuses, we had winter bonuses.
Yes.
And, sometimes the amounts fluctuated. But, us employees really depended on that, especially during Christmas time.
Right.
Around this time. But that would give you a boost for the next 6 months to just go beyond, your call as an employee. I instilled that in Marsh Creek. So as we started,
did you connect that to anything? Like, hey, if we were working on our 5th home of the month, if we get this done by boom, we're gonna celebrate together, or something like that. Was it connected?
Yes and no.
Okay.
from the beginning, along with the Dave Ramsey, aspects of the, debt snowball and the
Yes.
6 month emergency fund, within our business, whenever we were done a home, say we made $10,000 in profit
Yes.
on that home.
Yeah.
I would take 20% of that from day one
Mm-hmm.
and have 7% of that profit go in for employee bonuses.
Yeah.
Have 6% of that go into local missions,
Mm-hmm.
and 7% of that go into global missions,
Mm-hmm.
for to see what the Lord does in local ministries
Mm-hmm.
around the area, because that's something that I believe in. And from day one, from the first cent that we had in profit, we
Yeah.
put into those accounts, and then coming through the end of the year, we took and just drained those accounts
Yeah.
and gave the bonuses back to the employees.
Right.
So we do that twice a year. Same thing. We do it in the summertime and we do it in the wintertime.
Right.
And just through that, they see that not only are they're, they're getting paid weekly, but the efforts that they put in, it's just not the business owner pocketing it all.
Right. Yes.
Right. So
yes.
they have vested interest in going above and beyond, because going above and beyond and working hard is also putting money in their pocket,
Right. Absolutely.
as well, which is, I would say that was probably the number one piece of it, for the employees, because they wanted to work harder. They wanted to grow. In regards to the development of it as we grew and bringing on employees, I would start within. Hey guys, I'll give you $1,500 as a bonus.
Right.
If
Find
you
somebody.
know somebody out there that would love to do this job that you want to work with next
Well, I like
to
that.
you.
Now they're almost somewhat responsible as well.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. And they're going to
Good.
be responsible to their team. Like, hey, you brought this guy on. Now you need to hold him
Yeah, they
accountable
better be
to
good.
our standard.
Right.
And in doing that, it's worked out amazing.
Right.
So there's been times where, hey, I have guys, but I don't think I can work next to them. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So,
yeah. That's
but
smart.
in
I
that,
like
and then, but they would have to stay for 6 months in order to do that.
to get the bonus.
To get the
the
bonus for
referral
the
bonus.
15.
Yes.
The referral
Okay. I like
bonus,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's good.
we would find, guys that friends, cousins,
Right.
uncles,
Yes.
within, and we just grew that way.
Nice.
And we still do that to
Yeah.
today,
I think one thing, I don't know if you're picking up on it, but Craig is highly systematic. And I've never talked to a successful business owner that there wasn't a recipe behind
Mhm.
it. Sometimes it's communicated differently, sometimes it's written down, sometimes it's not. But even down to finances, you're able to tell me percentages off the top of your head. And I think that's really important for scaling any business.
Yep.
You need to know what your processes are. They need to be documented. The financial analogy is perfect because the process holds, whether it's $1 of profit or $1 million of profit. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You
matter.
know how that is being spent,
Yep.
budgeted. Your team know, like that's fantastic stuff.
And I will say one thing: it's a lot easier to start from the beginning with the process than it is to instill it 2-3
Absolutely.
years
Oh, absolutely.
after you get started.
Right.
So the sooner that you can instill that in the culture of your business that you're looking to grow,
Yeah.
the better it will be. Now, there's so many different ways that'll work for so many different people.
Absolutely.
This
yeah.
is what just worked for Marsh
Right.
Creek and the unbelievable growth that we've had over the past 7 years. And I'd like to say that was a huge part of it,
Right.
and still is. The guys, they look forward to that.
Yes.
They're going to work their tails ends off for that.
Right.
Another thing that we do that's unique, I would say, is we pay for holidays.
Yes.
Every holiday, we pay for holidays off. They don't necessarily have vacation days, but what we do is they can take whatever day off that they want, typically not paid.
Okay.
However, between Christmas and New Year's, every year for the past 7 years, I've given the guys off.
Just shut it down.
Just shut it down.
Right.
That's a time that
Paid.
I want them paid.
Yep.
Yeah, paid,
Yep.
fully paid.
Right.
And that is doubling that up with the bonus in
Right.
Christmas time, and then having that week off. Some guys don't listen to me and say, go spend time with your families. They'll go and
do things they want to do.
Exactly. They'll go hunt or they'll go do, do whatever they want to do.
Right.
So, in that, it was a win-win situation. Number one, I wanted to be with my family, not be bothered.
Sure.
But I wanted to encourage them to be with their family as well, because we spend more time with each other than we do our families.
Right.
And just getting a break and getting away from the people that you've seen for 360 days almost straight,
right,
is really impactful, and it really fulfills them to get ready for that new year.
Right.
They come back fulfilled. That first week of January, it's not fun. It's typically in the 20s, 30s.
Oh, that's right, because you're outside.
It's cold. It's rain. It's snowy.
Right.
But just to be able to have that time to collect our thoughts and just be able to unwind a little bit and get prepared for the next year.
Yes.
They rather have done that than have a week pay or 2 weeks pay of vacation.
Right.
So, and throughout, as we've grown every year, I ask them, would you rather have this or would you rather have this? It doesn't matter to me. I'm taking off between Christmas and New Year's no matter what, and I'm shutting my phone off.
Yeah.
But,
what do you want to do?
But what do you guys want to do?
Right.
And they said that was more important to them, that they would rather take days off here and there unpaid,
Yes.
just so they can have that paid time between Christmas and New Year's. So you kind of have to understand your flock and who you're working with and,
right.
and your staff and your employees, because not everybody's going to be the same.
Right.
Your flock's not going to be the same. And I think just the constant efforts of, hey, I'm here with you,
mm-hmm.
and I'm for you, and I have your back.
Right.
Not everybody can say that. There have been some bosses that I've had that I knew didn't have my back. They had their back, not my back.
Right.
And I just knew how that felt, and going through that. And I didn't want to go the extra mile for said person because they're going to take all the credit for it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Just having that opportunity to really just instill and pour into your employees is so important, because they are your business.
Right.
They are who your business is, and going through that and talking to just going on our testimonial page
mm-hmm.
on our website, that screams out in the testimonies that we've
your
had.
team is taking care of your clients
exactly.
as well. It's not just you. Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost rarely me.
That's the only way
nice.
You can scale.
Exactly.
You are a human being that has this much bandwidth, and so once you max that,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's definitely been ups and downs and unknowns, especially through the pandemic. But
mm-hmm.
Just being diligent and staying on path. And then along the way, I'm acknowledging that I don't know it all. So
mm-hmm.
there have been times I pulled Dave in.
Mm-hmm.
There were times that I really picked the brain of Michael Blackstone, like
mm-hmm.
guys and mentors and people of our church that are years above me that have wisdom to share.
Right.
Business development or not business development, personal growth, business growth. It kind of goes all hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, just having the shepherding effect or the servant leadership is huge for me.
Yeah.
I'm serving my guys. My guys are serving the
client.
client.
Is leadership. Serving a lot of people.
A lot of times it's just quick to listen, slow to speak.
Yes.
And just collecting your thoughts. I have not done that perfectly. I will acknowledge that. I don't think
your
any
guys are
entrepreneur,
hear this too. Yeah.
has done that perfectly. But
right.
At the end of the day, if I make a mistake, I'm going right to the employees and saying, I screwed up here.
Yeah.
And this is what I learned from it. And just being real.
Mm-hmm.
Just being real and acknowledging that I don't have all the answers.
Right.
For Marsh Creek. And I, to this day, in March 2020, I remember looking my guys in the eyes and saying, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with Marsh Creek. I don't know what's going to happen personally. No one knows.
Right.
But I will do everything in my power to make sure all your bills can be paid and you have food on the table for your family.
Yeah.
And,
awesome,
just I'm getting all like teary-eyed with that,
because it means a lot.
We really didn't know.
Yeah.
We really didn't know what was going on. And just through that and the growth through that, and growing the business, and it has just opened doors, and I never thought would be opened.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's actually a good segue too. My last question for you is, I've watched you make a move from one home at a time to multiple homes at a time, and now in this new world, new phase of your business, you're taking on entire communities. And what was that like, A, to make that jump?
Mhm.
Where did that vision come from? But then also, as you've done that, I've watched you, what I would call, take on some giants, large national,
Yep.
Groups that do what you do, and you're beating them down, man.
Yeah.
You're taking down the giants. So, and I've watched you scale. Like you're becoming that. You just got a job South Carolina.
Yeah.
Somebody down there going, oh my goodness, who's Marsh Creek coming in
Yeah.
our backyard?
Yeah.
So walk us through that process a little bit.
Yeah. So like I was telling you guys earlier, throughout the just the word of mouth and our reputation kind of spread like wildfire, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I wanted to be known as a construction company that is highly ethical and reliable, will follow up with what they say they're going to do, and not only through my interaction, but also my employees as well.
Right.
So in that, as we were doing the single family homes, working through that, word had got out to some engineers that oversaw our work,
Okay.
and homeowners, that it opened up the doors to start one HOA community, and that was in Eagle View. It's called Garden Villas.
Yes.
We had not done an HOA up to that point, and the HOA was 68 townhomes.
Okay.
We were really learning at that point to grow through this. We were awarded the project against 5 other bidders that were much larger than us.
Right.
Like light years larger than us. At the time we had 6 employees and myself, and at that time I was still swinging a hammer. So
Wow.
there was like multiple. I was doing project management, business development, on site with the guys, working with them. As that piece, as we were awarded that project, I took a step back, and I'm like, wow, we need to split this original crew up, right? So my uncle and my dad went one way,
okay,
and continued with the single family homes with Toll Brothers.
Yes.
So we were seeing that through to the end. And then the new venture, it was my brother-in-law and I, Derek, and we grew our teams out.
Right.
We went from 6 to 12.
So ironically,
employees. So
as you divided, you got more focused.
Yes.
That's what I hear, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, awesome.
And then in working with the multifamily HOA community piece of it, something kept coming to my mind. And the profit margins on the single family houses were higher.
Okay.
However, you had to work twice as hard to get the work because you're working with each individual homeowner.
Yeah.
As I learned with the HOAs, I developed an understanding there's a niche here. And you're working with a 5 board member, you're working with an engineer for the entire community, all 68. Now, I still had to work with each individual homeowner in regards to different selections.
Okay.
But the overall selection process, I interviewed with 5 board members.
Right.
I was introduced to the community by those 5 board members. They instilled trust in me. They brought it out
passed that
along to that. And
so one cell became 68, if you will,
essentially,
as opposed to 1-to-1.
Absolutely. Now,
that scale
with the HOA multifamily work, there's not as much profit margin in it. Now, keep in mind, we got awarded this spring 2020. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, we're not going to make as much in profit margin here, but I am guaranteed a year and a half, 2 years worth of work.
Right.
In that instability of life, I went to a more stable mindset and a more stable niche.
Right.
Where I could focus on that. And then in my mindset there, I was like, we are going to hit this out of the park, hell or high water.
Yeah.
Because if we start doing this, and I'm seeing this niche and growing in this and specializing in this piece of the multifamily aspect of it, we're not going to make as much, but I know my employees are going to be employed.
Yes.
I know they're going to continue to get those bonuses. And go back to what I learned with my boss at Toll Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He said, hogs get slaughtered, pigs get fed.
Yeah.
And that has always stuck with me. Always. Now, could I put more percentage on top of what we're, of course.
Right.
But I'm not going to trade that for work. So just having that platform and growing from single family to taking on these larger outfits,
right,
that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I moved away. We slowly transitioned from single family homes to that. And at the end of the project, every one of those 5 board members, along with a lot of people within the community, were all references.
Right.
And then we got another HOA through that.
Yeah, right.
And then another one.
Right.
And then the engineers called on. And now they're bringing us to jobs throughout this area. We have our largest project to date. We're in the middle of it. It's a 113 unit project in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. That was all through word of mouth.
Right. 100%.
100% word of mouth.
Right.
Hey, we worked with these guys. They do it a little differently.
Right.
And what I mean by that is we don't subcontract work out. Everybody that's there is a Marsh Creek employee.
Right.
And just in building that relationship in the space that I'm in now, they've already been burnt by subcontractors because they're in the situation they're in, whether it be stuck remediation or a builder, or they're in the situation they're in now because of
subcontracted work, right?
Yeah, faulty craftsmanship.
Yeah, right.
Not caring about, just get it done quick.
Production.
And get it through.
Right.
Production mindset. Right. Which can be done with proper supervision, but that's the problem. There wasn't much supervision in that aspect. So we do it in-house, and they enjoy that. They like the fact that it's the same crew, the same faces throughout the entire project.
Right.
So going through that, and another HOA we're working with now, we're just started out in Exeter.
Nice.
The engineer out there said, you guys have stomached something that not many contractors can stomach in regards to the bid process going through litigation.
Okay.
And when there's litigation involved, you have lawyer after lawyer, people are suing each other.
Right.
But at the end of the day, these poor homeowners, they still have the same issue.
They're stuck in the middle,
They're
right?
still stuck.
Yeah.
Their homes are rotting from the inside out because of faulty craftsmanship.
Right.
And, we stomached through it. We got that job. We still have the same mindset there. That engineer brought us down. There was a project that went to bid down in Myrtle Beach. It's called 5 Seasons at Myrtle Beach Resort.
How large is that?
It is 10 buildings.
Yes.
The project bid was $11 to $12 million.
Yeah, incredible.
So in that aspect, he said, "Hey, I want you to come down and bid."
Yeah.
My mindset was, "Oh, that's really far." I mean, but I bet you I could find a crew to go down there.
Yeah, I know a couple of the guys are excited.
There.
Yeah,
they're very
excited.
Like,
Myrtle Beach,
to be able to work down there in the wintertime.
Right.
So we took our best crack at it, and we were the second in the bid process versus all locals.
Okay.
And they did an interview. Me and one of the other local guys that is the same setup as a business down there.
Okay.
And same niche. And they awarded us the project.
Awesome.
And they just said that they really loved the way that we have it set up with in-house employees, but also our experience in the product that is going up, which is Wolf Portrait Siding, which is a PVC product.
Okay.
Going up there. So we're working through the start of that. It's hopefully going to start in January.
Yeah.
If not January, it's going to start in November 2024, so they can still have their high season down there. So
nice.
Taking on these big giant remediation companies, and here we're sitting here with 25 employees.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's everybody in house, and it just kind of goes back to doing what's right by the homeowner, because word spreads.
That's right.
What's that saying? If you do a great job, maybe 5 people, but if you do a
Right.
bad job,
You're gonna tell
a lot more
Yeah,
people,
yeah, you
right?
don't wanna be on
stay
that
away
train.
from those people.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
and along the way, you're never going to make everybody happy at the end
Right.
of the day.
Yeah.
Homeowners, employees, engineers. My mindset is, and I instill this in my guys: kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going through on a daily basis. You don't know the pressure that they have financially and their family dynamic. You just don't know.
Right.
So, having compassion for that and just, killing people with kindness. And there have been times where we've had very difficult homeowners in the entire process. At the end of the process, they're writing recommendation letters for us. And that's what I have challenged our staff to do. Like, those people that love us, that want us there, they're the easy ones. They're the easy ones to make happy, right?
Yeah.
We really want to take it up a notch and kill them with kindness. And I tell the guys, I said, I want a recommendation letter from this difficult homeowner at the end of the day. And,
that's awesome, man.
9 times out of 10.
I
wouldn't say it's 9 times out of 10. Maybe 6 times out of 10.
They
have done that. So, you really have to. But that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, you treat people the way you want to be treated. I mean, we entrepreneurs, we have a tendency to really overthink things and critically think through things, but to just really dumb it down.
Right.
I'm a very black and white kind of person, but very systematic, as
absolutely,
you said.
Yeah.
I stick to the process that we have in place that work, and now we're in a position that we're looking to acquire.
Yeah.
We're looking for more staff, more quality staff that have the ability to learn it our way and to instill our culture. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to really flip the mindset of a contractor from a homeowner upside down.
Right.
It's a very difficult industry. And a lot of the stuff is foreign in this industry. It's just a lot of hard work, blue collar, just wind and grind.
Right.
And just at the end of the day, knowing that I'm for my employees, and I know my employees have my back because of that.
Right.
Which will then play out in their interaction with the homeowners and just growing through that. So.
It's good, man.
That's it.
Well, we appreciate you.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, appreciate you. It's a joy to work with you. It's a
likewise.
joy to be on that journey with you, professionally and personally too. And I hope people that are watching and listening are truly encouraged by this, because a lot of our clients, it is like my greatest joy is to work with people who really are trying to do the right thing, to treat others the way they would want to be treated, do it right the first time. Honest and ethical, regardless of profit margin. And we have so many clients like that. And I think sometimes that can be discouraging when maybe you do get beat by somebody that that's not how they operate. And
it's happened.
I'm sure it has.
It's happened. I mean, that's
you
just
got to take that pill and move on, right? So I hope, we talk about beyond base camp. Like, base camp's what you set up, and from there, who knows what's going to happen. And yet you are controlling what you can by the way you operate, how you treat your team, how you treat clients. So I'm not shocked that you're having the success that you're having. So congrats.
Thank you.
And we hope you learned something today. And thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll see you soon.